Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for January 27th, 2025. The WWE Royal Rumble from Indianapolis is less than a week away. The final countdown is on to the Rumble. This was the go-home edition of Monday Night Raw. Let's go ahead and break down this show. Shout out to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. We opened up the show with the announcers recapping Saturday night's main event. Seth freaking Rollins came down to the ring for a promo. He hyped up WrestleMania season. He said that 2025 got off to a rough start for him, losing to CM Punk, but he doesn't stay down. And when he's the most focused version of himself, nobody on the planet is better than him. Rollins talked about how his redemption began by beating Drew McIntyre, and he will continue on that path at the Rumble. He said he will toss out everybody from Roman Reigns and so on and so forth. He said that he hopes CM Punk is the last guy in the ring so we can crush Punk's WrestleMania dreams to dust. And then he asked the fans, do they want to see Rollins versus Gunther or Rollins versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania? Well, World Heavyweight Champion Gunther came out there. He bragged about beating Jey Uso at the Saturday night's main event. He said that Rollins was the best wrestler at one point, but is no longer the best wrestler in the company. And then Gunther asked Rollins to win and challenge him at WrestleMania so Gunther could prove once and for all that he is the best in the company. Then we had an interruption from Logan Paul, who is officially on Monday Night Raw. Logan Paul came out there and tore up a fan sign, Conor McGregor is better than Logan Paul. Then he got some massive boos. The crowd was booing him out of the building. He said that WWE needs a new face, one that oozes charisma. He officially declared himself for the Rumble. And then Gunther said he wants Logan Paul to win, not Rollins, so he can embarrass Logan at WrestleMania. And then Rollins said Gunther is going to be the only one who ends up getting embarrassed. Good segment here to open up the show. You establish Logan Paul in the Rumble. You build up some tension between Rollins and Gunther. Nice start to the show. Now we have a couple of super chats. Here's one on topic with what's going on in WWE. Today in 2014, CM Punk walked out on WWE. Thank you for the super chat, Hamp. I appreciate it. And of course, super chats not required, but they are appreciated. Think of it as a virtual tip jar. If you're liking the recap, a super chat is a nice way of saying thank you. But I do appreciate you all. Hamp says CM Punk walked out on WWE, and he's been a little bit critical in the chat room about the show. CM Punk walking out, definitely a big moment in wrestling history. Hard to believe that was 11 years ago. It definitely feels like yesterday. I remember when all the news broke regarding that, and it was a chaotic time for sure. But CM Punk and chaos seem to go together quite often. Shout out to Dave Scheffler, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Dave. I appreciate it. Thank you for the tip. He says, wasn't Roman Reigns supposed to be on this episode? And wasn't Solo Sikoa supposed to acknowledge him after his loss to Roman Reigns? I don't believe Roman Reigns was officially announced for this week's Raw. They did tease something for Atlanta, and we will get to that. In a way, Roman was on the show, but not on the show. And again, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. I'm not sure what's next for Solo Sikoa. He came out there after he lost on the SmackDown and didn't say anything, and he wasn't on the show last week. I'm not sure where he goes from here, but maybe they're going to transition to Solo versus Jacob Fatu. Not really sure where they're going with that at this point, but maybe after the Rumble, we'll have something going on with that. All right, we had a backstage segment with Sami Zayn confronting CM Punk, and it got a little heated. Sami Zayn brought up how they're not on the same level because one of them actually main evented WrestleMania. And then Zayn walked away, ran into Karrion Kross, and Kross advised Sami Zayn to start thinking with his head and not with his heart. So could this be a tease of a heel turn for Sami Zayn? More on that in just a little bit. We had our first match of the evening, WWE RAW tag team titles on the line. Viking Raiders versus Dominik Mysterio and JD McDonagh. Finn Bálor is nowhere to be found. We'll have to see what happens with that. Now, early on in the match, JD McDonagh took this absolutely brutal bump. He did this moonsault out of the ring, and he landed on the floor, but then very quickly bounced neck head first into the announce table. It looked really bad, but somehow he was able to get up from that and finish the match. Like, if he did not injure himself there, I'm shocked, because it did look like it could have been a really serious injury. But he got back up, match continued. This will get him some points with people for sure, being able to come back from that, because that could have taken him out and really put him on the shelf. Like, that was brutal. So the match did continue. Viking Raiders were building up some momentum, but then we had interference from Carlito. He got on the apron. He spit his apple in Ivar's face while the referee was distracted. JD hit the moonsault. Dominik came off the top of the frog splash, but then Erik managed to break up the pin, and then the Viking Raiders, or the War Raiders, gotta get used to the new name, even though it was the old name. The War Raiders finished off Dominik with the War Machine, their double team finisher, where Ivar does that springboard clothesline, and they picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Good match here. Champs retain. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Building Nexus. I appreciate it. Building Nexus says, what if Liv Morgan turns on Dominik Mysterio at WrestleMania? Hey, that would be a good place to do it. If you're going to split them up, WrestleMania would be the place to do it. Is Dominik out of the doghouse? Well, we'll get to that in just a few moments. But yeah, between now and WrestleMania, you can slowly build up to that, and WrestleMania would be a fitting place to pull the trigger on that if WWE decides to, in fact, go in that direction, which I think it'll work. I mean, I feel like the fans will cheer for Dominik when the time is right. Shout out to the This Guy Experience, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you guys again for the super chats. Much appreciated. This guy says, JD McDonagh earned my respect just like Finn did in Hell in a Cell. He is tough, man. JD McDonagh, he's a really good wrestler, and he's been almost like one of those sidekick wrestlers that is basically tagging along and gets beat up, but he's really come into his own over the last several months and has proven his worth in WWE. I mean, Shawn Michaels was a big fan of him from the get-go. So, if Shawn saw something in him, he was going to make it. Shawn Michaels, master of the super kick. Oh, wait, excuse me, Sweet Chin Music. How could anybody screw that up? Must be a 12-year-old running the No DQ Twitter account. All right, moving on here. We had Ludwig Kaiser meeting backstage with Pete Dunne, and I wonder if this is going to lead to something with those guys. Then we had New Day coming in, and they cut a promo, and I guess Xavier Woods had his family arriving, but they had not shown up in the building yet. This was Xavier's hometown, although Kathy Kelly kept thinking Atlanta's favorite son was anybody but Xavier Woods. She was naming everyone from Austin Theory to Cody Rhodes, and Xavier was none too happy about this disrespect. We had Rey Mysterio versus Xavier Woods. Zelina Vega was out there with the LWO, and they did announce that Zelina Vega is moving to SmackDown. So she is leaving the LWO. My gut feeling is they're going to pair her back up with Andrade. We'll see where that goes. But anyways, in this match, Xavier got in a good amount of offense. But then things went south for him when his family finally arrived at ringside. Unfortunately for Xavier, they all revealed that they were wearing New Day Sucks t-shirts. Xavier was thrown off. He was distracted, and Rey Mysterio hit the 619. Then he came off with the springboard splash and got the 1-2-3 victory. Entertaining, but I'm still wondering when they're really going to take it to the next level with New Day. Right now they're kind of being booked almost like a comedy act, and I'm wondering if that's going to turn around here soon. I was thinking they were going to be repackaged with new music and they'd start winning. Hasn't happened yet. Not sure when that's going to be, or if that's even something that they have planned at some point. Moving on here, we had Sami Zayn meeting up with Seth Rollins, talking about how the Helluva kick last week was a mistake. And Rollins said, yeah, maybe so, but it felt like perhaps it wasn't. And Rollins warned that if it happens again, he can't be so sure that it was a mistake. The two of them had an understanding. They shook hands. They hugged. All is good for now. We had Jey Uso coming down to the ring with rapper Kayo. Not sure how to pronounce his name. Quayo, I think. Michael Cole was out there trying to do the cool handshake and did not execute it so well. Pretty funny stuff. And Pat McAfee was roasting him big time. Pat McAfee also showed footage from WrestleMania 27, which was very funny, making fun of Michael Cole. Michael Cole was taking it in good spirits. Jay cut a promo, brought up his loss. Despite losing, though, he knows he can beat Gunther, and he vowed to win the 2025 Royal Rumble. So yeah, good segment here. Jey Uso still massively over. Never count out the possibility of Jay winning either the Rumble or Elimination Chamber. You feel like with his momentum, just how much the fans love him, kids and the like, kids, young people, old people. He might be a world champion before 2025 is over. I think it's a it's a fair prediction. I don't even think it's a bold prediction. I do believe that there's a solid chance that we will see Jey Uso with a world title before this year is over. Don't know if it's going to be WrestleMania, but sometime in 2025. Mark my word. I think it'll happen. We had a backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria, the Women's Intercontinental Champion. Jey Uso, I don't think he's overrated at all. Like, he is a superstar, and he's getting the people emotionally invested, which is extremely hard to do. If you can get those people behind you, you're made. And not everybody can do it. Some of the most talented wrestlers in the world can't do it. So I respectfully disagree. Jey Uso's great. All right, so Lyra Valkyria in the Royal Rumble. And then we had American Made confronting Alpha Academy again. So I guess they might still be feuding. I don't know. Ivy Nile wants the IC title. We'll see when that happens. We had a tag team match, non-title match. Liv Morgan and Raquel going up against the tag team champions Bianca Belair and Naomi. And it was a back and forth match, competitive here with the two teams. Eventually, it was Liv and Bianca. Liv went for the Oblivion. Bianca was able to counter it. And then Bianca hit the COD, the KOD. But then Dominik Mysterio got on the apron. Bianca was distracted. She went after Dominik. And then Naomi tagged in. And then Naomi hit the split-legged moonsault. But Raquel pulled out Naomi, gave her the Tejana bomb on the apron, and then Liv Morgan was able to easily pin Naomi and pick up the win for her team, which means that potentially Liv and Raquel will get a tag team title opportunity. It was confusing because going in, I thought the tag titles were on the line, but then they weren't. I don't know if they ever were officially announced as being on the line, but nonetheless, wouldn't shock me if Liv and Raquel are your next tag team champions. You know, Jade Cargill should be back at any time, and there's rumors about Bianca Belair potentially getting a singles push for WrestleMania. So I feel like we're going to see a title change relatively soon, and we're going to get some sort of payoff with this Jade Cargill storyline. We had Rhea Ripley, the women's champion, backstage. She talked about her victory over Nia Jax. She put over Nia, said that Nia was an irresistible force, but Rhea had to remind her why Mommy is always on top. And then Bayley came in and said maybe she'll see Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. And then Io Sky said she'll see Bayley on Saturday. Things are heating up for the men and women's Royal Rumble matches. And speaking of the men's Rumble, Penta was shown via a video package. He officially declared himself for the Royal Rumble. Should be fun to see Penta in there. And then Paul Heyman came to the ring. Paul Heyman revealed the 2K25 video game cover with himself and Roman Reigns on the cover. They had the big display in the arena. This was Roman Reigns' appearance on the show. I don't know what else to say. Heyman talked about how Reigns got back his Ulafala and now will take back his world championship. But he was interrupted by Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre got into the ring and he had some words with Paul Heyman. Crowd was chanting, "We want Roman." Unfortunately for them, they did not get him. Remember, Roman Reigns is a part-timer. McIntyre brought up how he is really the daddy of the bloodline. He brought up how he eliminated Roman Reigns in the 2020 Rumble, went on to slay the Beast, Paul Heyman's client, and then Heyman went to Roman Reigns, got in Reigns' ear, and then the bloodline took over. So basically, McIntyre was the reason the bloodline was even formed in the first place. Now, McIntyre said all he wants from Heyman was a thank you. And then he said he's going to throw Heyman's boy over the top rope and asked Heyman to pass the word. Heyman said he would let the tribal chief Roman Reigns know, but McIntyre said he was actually referring to Heyman's boy, CM Punk. Good segment here. I mean, with these two, it's pretty much always guaranteed to be a great segment. Really solid promo work from everybody. And then we had Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn, dueling chants. Pretty early on in the match, Sami Zayn's nose was busted open, and then they were on the outside of the ring. Drew McIntyre went for a Claymore, but missed. He hit the announce table. And then after the break, it was back and forth. Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb and got the win. No, he didn't. Not this time. McIntyre kicked out of the Blue Thunder Bomb, and then McIntyre regained control, went for the Claymore, but Zayn avoided it. Zayn did the exploder in the corner, went for the haluva kick, but McIntyre avoided it, and then he rolled up Zayn, put his feet on the ropes, and got the 1-2-3 victory. So once again, Sami Zayn unable to beat Drew McIntyre. Now, before we get to the next segment here, well, after the match was over, we had an attack from McIntyre. Cody Rhodes ran down to make the save. We got a big brawl between everybody, and you had 4 men in the ring. Sami Zayn was going for the haluva kick to McIntyre, but accidentally hit Cody Rhodes. And Cody was down in the corner, and you had Kevin Owens standing right next to his buddy Sami Zayn and basically giving him the props for what he had done, even though it was supposedly an accident. And that concluded the next to last segment. Before we get to that, though, the This Guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you again for the super chat. I appreciate it. This guy says, the women's ICUS belt has not been defended. Raquel, IC champion one day. It could happen, but I think it's more likely that Raquel and Liv Morgan win the tag team titles. Raquel, she doesn't necessarily need it. I think it's best for some of the up-and-comers, like the Lyra Valkyrias, and then maybe somebody like a Roxanne Perez, other call-ups from NXT. I think those are the ones that are going to be going for the women's IC and maybe even the US title as well. But thank you again for the super chat. And now our final segment of the evening, Cody Rhodes talking about how being a champion, it's not just the title, the physical title belt, but it's the mindset. Cody brought up how he shows up first to work. He's the last to leave, and he cannot wait to move past Kevin Owens and get to WrestleMania. But then CM Punk arrived, and Punk, he said that he feels that things are starting to get to Cody. And Punk talked about the pressures of being champion. Punk said he knew what it was like. He had that title for 434 days. He lost friends because of it. Punk said that none of them are superhuman. And he's saying that as Cody's friend. And Cody wanted to know, is Punk really his friend? And Punk said yes. Punk said he will always be Cody's friend. And then Cody asked, what's next for him? What's next for Cody Rhodes? And Punk said that what's next is Cody will get to sleep in his own bed, but he might not actually get that much sleep because he's always grinding. It's on to the next thing. And Punk said that after the Rumble, it's Raw, it's SmackDown. And while Cody is perhaps on the way down, there's somebody who is going to win the Rumble and take the title from Cody. They're going to be on the rise while Cody's on the decline. And Punk said that's the good news. Cody wanted to know what was the bad news. And Punk said the bad news is that person is Punk. He said, since he is Cody's one true friend, he's going to be the one that stabs Cody in the front and not in the back. And Cody responded by saying that for years, Cody was chasing CM Punk. Punk left, and now that Punk's back, Cody's no longer chasing Punk. Punk is chasing him. And Cody said he hopes Punk wins because he wants to see Punk's face when the best in the world isn't the best in the world anymore. Cody's music hit, and we went off the air. It was a fantastic segment. And yes, I do not do the speech justice. The segment was awesome. It was a great ending to the show. And I will say this about Raw. I think they really did a very effective job of having everybody mix in with each other. CM Punk's interacting with Cody. CM Punk's interacting with Sami Zayn. And everybody's connected in some way. And everyone's chasing the title. You know, they really made it feel like the Royal Rumble is very important. Main eventing WrestleMania is very important. This is what they live for. And I think they knocked it out of the park for this buildup. I thought this was a really good Raw as far as building up the Royal Rumble goes. Like, we didn't get any title changes or any major storyline per se, but I think as far as hyping up the Rumble and making it feel like a big deal, I really liked the show. I'm giving it a strong 8 out of 10 points from Monday Night Raw. There's a lot of possibilities, especially for the men's match with McIntyre getting built up, Sami Zayn built up. Is Sami Zayn turning heel now? Who knows? Could he help Kevin Owens? Like, they added some intrigue to that too. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll talk about that on predictions this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then, of course, the No DQ review Tuesday night, 7 p.m., 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll have more Royal Rumble talk, more discussion about some possibilities for the Rumble. But I think they did a good job of keeping people guessing for this one. Like, could CM Punk win? Could Sami Zayn win? John Cena, Roman Reigns. For once, it's just not like, well, there's one person that's going to win the Royal Rumble. Now it feels like maybe there's half a dozen guys that could potentially win it. What about Jey Uso, considering the reactions he's getting? Could Triple H be like, you know what, we got to go with Jey Uso? Anything's possible. You never know. Who do I think will win? You have to tune in Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for my thoughts. I got my predictions. I'm feeling like I have an idea, but you guys will have to tune in then to hear it. So thank you again to everyone for watching tonight. I very much appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that super chatted, and stay tuned for the rest of the content. Should be a busy week on No DQ, so stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the news and rumors. We got the commentaries, the opinions, Mr. Tito, and everyone else contributing over on NoDQ.com. Check out the comment section on the No DQ articles. Matthew is always participating, and we got a lot of people. So thank you to everybody that comments on the site and joins in the comment sections. Keep posting your thoughts, interact, be respectful, of course, and just stay tuned for all the latest. NoDQ.com, we'll have you covered this weekend for the Rumble. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.